On today's episode, I saw some movies over the weekend. Tyler's back from vacation, and we have our interview with the Locals podcast host, David Baker. All coming up on the Segway Podcast.
Hey, welcome to the Segway.
Best thing to happen to you on a Thursday.
That is right, recording live in LeBron's backyard.
Tyler,
how's it going, dude?
you're back.
I am. I'm back. I'm not in Arizona, dude. As nice as it was, or as good as it is to be here, dude, I was listening to our podcast while sitting outside in a hot tub looking at stars with fire around me.
That sounds like the best way to listen to it.
My uncle's rich. Yeah, all of you guys should listen to our episode, every episode that way.
And get a rich uncle.
Everybody drove really, really fast there. Really fast. Like, I was getting passed in double yellow lines. All I could think of is, these guys must have shitty music. Do you ever take your time somewhere because you have a good song on?
Yeah, for sure. But also, I think it's just because they're the desert. It's the desert, so everyone's fucking fried there.
But I mean, the majority is like, there goes a Cadillac, there's a BMW, there's a Mercedes-Benz. These people have air conditioning.
Yeah.
But when I see people going like 90, I'm thinking, you must not have any good music. Because that is actually something that stops me from speeding, is like good music. I try and fit as many songs in I can. Like, I feel bad for him. How was your week?
Saw 2 movies this weekend.
Joker?
Joker was one of them. And the other one was Hulu, Little Monsters.
Yeah.
I liked one of them a lot, and I liked the other one not as much.
Are we going to leave it there?
Yeah.
Okay. In Sedona, Arizona, I had white cheese pizza.
Yeah. Absolutely
amazing. It was $2 cheaper than Luigi's.
Oh, really?
Which is, it's just, I feel like cost of living is just, it was like, I think $18. And, yeah, it was pretty amazing. Although I still thought Luigi's was fine. But the whole time I was eating that pizza, because I'm still vegetarian, the whole time I was eating that pizza, I was like, it was funny. My mom called me. I don't know if I already said this on the podcast or not.
I don't think you did.
But she was like, are you still doing that vegetarian thing? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, you're going to have to knock it off because your uncle's making like 7 pounds of spare ribs for the Browns game Monday night, which I'm also not talking about that. Or the Seahawks game, which I was fucking at. But no, I didn't break. So can I talk about Joker for 1 second? I know it was my point that I want to make this intro short because we have an awesome guest, David Baker, the Locals podcast. And you've probably seen this. Have you seen on Facebook, social media, anywhere, Jared Leto's upset about the Joker?
No.
No?
I didn't know he was upset about it.
See, that's my point. Everybody's saying, because they did a Joker movie without Jared Leto. Like, they rebooted it, essentially. Yeah. And Jared Leto's mad. Jared Leto didn't like that they did this. I haven't seen one fucking quote.
No, I haven't either.
All I've seen, well, you haven't even seen the side effect. But I just keep seeing all these posts about Jared Leto's mad. Jared Leto didn't like this. Jared Leto's unhappy. Jared Leto's jealous. I haven't seen a quote. You know, like, that just screams, and I hate to say that, I hate to use this phrase, fake news. That's how it feels to me, and I'm going to start trying to do that more in life. I'm not taking things at face value, except for our Would You Rather stories.
That's weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I just had to get that off my chest, because I can't wait another week. Do you have anything?
No, I think we're just going to move on to the interview.
So make sure you guys stick around. This is like the perfect segue.
Ha!
We're talking to a podcaster who has a band and is really and he interviews musicians. He's pretty much our competition. We might kill him.
I think we're gonna have to.
I'm just kidding. He's an awesome dude. David Baker, the Locals podcast, is coming up, so make sure you guys stick around for that coming up right now.
I use Logic, which is GarageBand's bigger brother.
Yeah, that's our EP was mixed on.
Was it?
Logic. That's what Jimmy used. All right, hey guys, we are here with David Baker of the Locals podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm doing. What's going on?
This is really exciting for me.
I know, this is the first time we've ever recorded in this room.
Yeah.
It's tiny. It's a little bit, somehow it's cooler than my office.
Yeah, I am still kind of chilly.
Really?
Even though we're shoved in the middle of a utility closet right now.
Yeah, we might need to shut that door. Keep the heat in.
I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I got a hoodie I can throw on.
All right, so let's just jump right into this. David, how did you get into podcasting?
So I had a podcast probably about 4 years ago called Sound Off. I'm what they call a podcast nerd, so I listen to at least probably 10 different podcasts a day and try to keep up with at least during the week. So I started a podcast, it was called Sound Off, and then I got about 10 episodes in, and then I got overwhelmed with like my personal life.
Yeah.
So I ended up cutting it short, and then because at the time music, like I played music, so music was like my love affair right there. So one had to go, you know. And then 4 or 5 years go by, and I just randomly one morning was at work and was like, "Oh man, The Locals sounds like a cool band name," and I was like, no, actually, that doesn't sound like a cool band name. That sounds like a cool podcast name. And what if I just interviewed local talent?
Yeah.
You know, and so I came up with the name first before I came up with the idea. And then from there, the idea just kind of sparked, you know, and whatnot. So that's kind of where it came from.
I have a really quick story, and this will probably get edited out, but I'm going to say it. One of my favorite bands in the world is The Matches. Have you ever heard of The Matches?
I have not,
They're
no.
from Oakland. They were actually called The Locals.
Really?
And there was a band from Chicago called The Locals that reached out to them and said, hey, and the lead singer's name, I believe her name was Yvonne Dahl, and she was like, hey, you guys have to change your name. You guys can't be The Locals anymore. We're The Locals. We'll sue you. So they changed to The Matches, and their very first album is called Yvonne Dahl Killed the Locals. I love that.
That's awesome.
It's a fun story.
Yeah.
So when you started the Sound Off versus now the Locals podcast,
yeah,
how have you noticed already a change? Because you're already 12 episodes into?
Yeah, I'm 12 episodes deep. Yep.
So in terms of product, creation, like how long it takes you to edit or get like the content recorded, how much of a change have you noticed just in these couple of years?
So the biggest thing is not necessarily how the content has changed, because if you go back and listen to Sound Off and then the Locals, other than quality, the format's the same. All I wanted to do was talk to other musicians in Sound Off, and then figure out why they're doing what they're doing. For instance, I might have you guys on my show at some point, and I want to know why you guys decided to do podcasts. That's kind of the point of my show. The biggest thing that I've noticed from the Locals that I'm trying to do is to pick my guests strategically, if that makes sense.
How do you do that?
So couple things. I have to back what they do. You know what I mean? So we're 12 episodes deep. We've only had we've had 2 people who weren't musicians. I want to go a little more, do more photography, more comedians, more filmmakers, more painters. I want to do more of that. Music is just my thing. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we are in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
But, continue.
It's strange, but yeah. So I came at this one with a business plan versus with Sound Off, where I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna talk to my friends. You know what I mean?
That's always how it works out. Like it works out better that way if you know what you're gonna do coming in.
Isn't it kind of crazy? Because like when you're younger, you're like, oh, this will be fun, and I'll do this. But it's like now, and I can already tell you have that approach, but like it kind of is a business.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think the problem a lot of like small podcasts or even bands or even comedians or something have is like everybody wants to shoot for the stars right off the bat. You know what I mean? They're like, why ain't I famous yet? It's like, well, man, because you have 2 followers on Facebook, you know? So my goal here was with the Locals was to grasp that name. I was like, I'm going to try to build my fan base on the local level first, and then eventually start to spread out. Like I said, we're 12 episodes deep, about 230 likes on Facebook, and we're getting people from out of state already messaging us trying to get on the show, which is awesome. I thought about maybe still, indulging them, but we're trying, like I said, business plan, trying to stay local first, and then we'll see.
I was going to ask, have you had to deny people, or is it just kind of like a hold on a second?
It's more of a hold on a second. I haven't denied a single person yet. I have, however, had a guest in studio. I won't say the name because I actually really want them to come back. I had a guest in studio, and then during the editing process, I accidentally screwed the audio up.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was irreparable. So I couldn't, where's my drink? I couldn't fix it, you know what I mean?
That's a learning experience. experience though, and
Right.
I'm imagining.
I was gonna say I did that to our second episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I stripped it somehow. I don't know. Yeah.
The weird thing about, because you guys use GarageBand, I use Logic, like I was saying in pre-show. It's the big brother. So like how I screwed it up was that day I had booked 2 shows on the same day. So like within an hour of each other.
Oof.
And I had the project up on my computer and I saved it. And in Logic, you can delete files. Now, this is where it gets foggy because Logic likes to be an asshole sometimes. But you can delete files out of the time bar, like you see right here when we're recording, the red stuff. You can delete it out of the file and it won't delete it off your computer. Sometimes it'll ask you if you delete it, then it's gone forever. This time it didn't ask me, so I'm like, oh, it's cool. Well, I went in and then recorded the next episode, and when I went back to edit his episode, it was gone.
Oh, did it replace it?
It didn't replace it. It saved the original. My audio was there, but for some reason his audio was completely gone.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and couldn't find it anywhere. I was so mad.
That'd be a real one-sided conversation.
Oh yeah, and I messaged the guy too. I'm like, hey brother, I'm sorry. Like I accidentally screwed some stuff up in post editing. Like, is there a way you can come back and we can redo it? And he never answered me back. So I'm like, damn.
I didn't expect him just to ghost you. So I just want to say that we've hit at least like 8 of my questions so far. So it's good. It's
Nice,
going
we're
really
done.
well.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're?
I mean, I can still.
I was waiting for you to like lead up. I
got stuff.
Yeah, go on.
I got plenty. Don't worry.
Okay.
He's got 8 of the 9 answered, so he's got 1 on.
Yeah, exactly. So you're still a musician, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Do you want to promote your band?
So I play in a band right now called the Ready Fuels.
You guys just released an EP, right?
Yes,
in the summer.
Yeah, we did. We released an EP that I'm super, super proud of. It's called it's a bit wordy, but it's called It Might Mean Nothing to You, But It's Everything to Me. There's a big story behind that. So if you want to hear it, we can talk about it. If not, that's long.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, because since you guys are more local and everything,
Yeah.
it's like if it's a big time artist, you're like, it's probably stock. But there's a female on the cover.
Yeah, Carly, and I think her last name is pronounced Masiga. She's actually a good friend of mine.
Okay.
She is a photographer. How I discovered her is I was in a band called Bad Wolf. We were playing at the Agora, and she was dead front and center with another friend. They were like going crazy and having a good time and stuff, and then they caught us after the show, and we became friends after that. Found out she's a photographer. Well, she's episode 6 on my podcast. We interviewed her. And I was like, hey, I really like your pictures. You know, like, is there any chance you'd be able to whip up something? Actually, specifically on her Instagram, she had a picture of herself that I thought looked like a perfect album cover. And I was like, hey, is it cool if I can use this? And she said it was cool. Well, long story short, Photoshop didn't end up working with it. Blew it up too big and it just pixelated and stuff. So I ended up messaging her and saying, you got anything else I can use? And she sent me what's on the album cover right now. So
You can still go into detail about the EP if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just give you the quick and dirty because, well, I'll tell you why. I was in a band called Bad Wolf, and me and the drummer had a little bit of a falling out. So the whole record is based on a conversation I had with him where he wanted to get the band back together, which is fine because I actually really love the music I made in that band, but I had different intentions. I wanted to come out as like a businessman. He wanted to just had to do it for fun. And there's a couple lyrics in the record that say like, I'm tired of doing it for fun, you know, kind of thing. I want to do this big time. So I wrote a whole record about this kid to where like, he's like, I just want to play for fun. I don't. And like the whole point of the title was like, it might just be whatever to you, you know, but like, this is what I live and breathe for. And that's why I decided to write that record. There's only one song on there that's about my wife, but you know, everything else is about it.
She probably wants all of them to be about.
Yes.
We understand.
Yes. That's funny.
Do you play? So, do you sing? Do you play guitar? What do you do?
So in Bad Wolf, I sang and played guitar. In the Ready Fuels, I just sing, but I wrote and recorded everything on that record. I did all the instrumentation and mixed and produced it all myself.
Nice. This is a quick plug. I'm sure you'll hit this later at the end.
Yeah.
But is your next show November 15th, or do you have one coming up before then?
Is it November 15th or is it November 14th?
I believe it's, unless I'm wrong, it's 15th at the Empire Concert Club.
You guys did your research, man. Holy shit. I'm never this prepared on my own show.
No, if we were to critique me and previous interviews that we've had, I think sometimes I get too question heavy. What?
Oh, what?
Stalker?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I can only learn so much by standing outside your window with binoculars.
Yeah.
But I guess listening, like sometimes I have all this prepared stuff and I want to hit everything that I feel like maybe it wasn't as organic of a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. With my show, Like, so I'll write a script up. Actually, we'll talk about my show in a minute. Let's backtrack.
Yeah,
to it.
let's knock out music.
Yeah,
we're done interviewing musicians. So
there's
you get 5 minutes, and then we're back to podcast.
Only a little bit of musicians in this one.
Yes.
So yeah, I think for some reason I'm thinking it's the 14th, but since you did your research, you're probably right. I've got so much on my plate right now that like dates are starting to fuse together.
Yeah.
But yes, we're playing at the Empire Concert Club with a band called Royal Bliss. They are a national touring band right now. That Eric, the owner of the Empire, is a big fan of ours. He gave us our chance when we released our EP back in June, and we put on a good show there. So yeah, it's the 14th now. I guess this is going to be exclusive for the Segway podcast, but I think after that show, the Ready Feels is going to be done because I'm starting another band where I'm drumming for. It's like a pop punk project, and that's all I can say at the moment. We've got almost a full length recorded, and we're going to start plans for a music video and stuff. So
do the rest of the Ready Feels know?
I won't tell them.
It's kind of well, okay, so I've mentioned this on my own show that the band was just a band full of guys who said yes. Like, they're all good friends of mine. We're fine. We can go out and have a beer at any point in time. But everybody knows that this project is probably just going to die at some point because I literally wrote and recorded everything. There's no organic chemistry.
You're the driving force.
Yeah.
Without you, the band doesn't exist.
Yes. I guess that's kind of the rough way to put it. But, like, I think that, like, if we all sat in a room and wrote a song together, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Everybody in that band, like the drummer, his name is Steven Turner. He is a full-time producer. He produces for artists Clapper the Rapper, a guy named Mick Ryder, and Alex Dagner, who is the guitarist for my band.
Okay.
Everybody lives an hour away from each other in this project, so it's hard to get together.
Yeah, we get that.
But I don't think they're going to carry it.
So you're choosing to give up singing for drumming?
Yes.
Save the voice for the podcast, I guess.
Just to, like, break his back, I guess.
Yeah. I think I'm not going to kill off Ready Fools as like an entity. It'll still be up, like, because I'm still writing and recording music all the time, so if I ever release a song, I'll probably put it under the Ready Fools. It's just I'm not going to play out as much.
That's fair. So while we're still somewhat on the topic of music, I got to ask, favorite venue in Ohio to watch a band and favorite venue to play at?
I wasn't even going to ask him that because I was like, we want to get off music.
Yeah, this will be it. After these two questions, what's music? I don't even know.
Right. I think my favorite venue I've ever been to is I like the House of Blues in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful venue. Guys are always super polite there. Beer's a little too expensive.
Yeah.
But, that is what it is. As far as venues I've played at, I would say the Empire Concert Club has just such an awesome aesthetic there. It just feels awesome. Now, I haven't had the chance to play at Musica, but that is probably a close second. I've been there before. I love the venue. I think it's a cool place, but it's probably a close second.
So now we can switch to podcasting. I got a quick question, or can I slide in real quick and then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Slide in.
Okay, because this kind of goes back on something we already touched on when we were talking about like structured and like conversational.
Yeah.
We in January of this year we had a show booked with Divorce Horse, but unfortunately they had a personal issues come up.
Yeah.
They had to drop day of. But that's how I found you.
Oh, really?
I follow them on Facebook, and I believe they posted something to your podcast, and I listened to it, and I was like, this might be the most conversational interview. It felt so organic.
Yeah.
It was like, it wasn't like question, answer. It was just like guys that understand music having a conversation. I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah. And that's kind of honestly the whole process. So if I'm going to give away all my secrets,
yeah, wait, let me get my pen out.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's honestly I say it on my podcast time and time again. The point of my show is to bring communities together. That's why I just have bands on, it feels like right now. So like eventually I'll want to have you guys on and we can do a show that way, which honestly will probably just be like this,
Maybe a bigger room, but
yeah, a little bit bigger. But the whole point of it is to just build this community. So like with the musicians, I'm trying to build like a scene together where people can interact with each other. And now, like for instance, Divorce Horse is on my show, so now they might pay attention to other episodes and like find a band that they like they've never met before, but like, hey, why don't we get these guys on our show? We're gonna have Andy Boers, he's aka Ducky. We're gonna have him back on the show. But those guys have been so supportive. Larry is one of the best people on the planet. But my approach to it is this, man. So like when they come into the studio, I'll listen. So like with bands, I'll listen to their record all day at work or when I get home from work or whatever. I'll listen to their record and that's pretty much it. Then I'll pull up their Facebook like while they're sitting on my couch. I'll pull up Facebook and I'll be like dig through some stuff, just find a couple just quick talking points. Honestly, I'll write a script out that I send to I've got a producer. Yes, that sounds douchey, but I've got a producer that I have to send this stuff to like kind of okay it. And all it says is like intro song, intro, put plug, and then there's like 3 points. And it's like you wouldn't think that 3 points could fill up a full hour. But the way that I approach it is like when they bring up something that I think is like a deep dive or a tangent, I just dive for it, before every pre-show, I'll sit down with the artist and I'll say, listen, this is not an interview. I'm not going to sit here and go like, hey man, what's your favorite color? Or what's your favorite band? Things like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask you questions like, hey, what's your writing process like in more detail to get like the nitty gritty stuff out too. And two, if you think about it, it makes the guests feel a little more comfortable. Because now instead of like, hey, you're being questioned, you're being interviewed, now it's you got to say the right thing every time. Now it's like, yo man, just relax. Half the time when people show up, I just give them beer. I'm like, hey, you guys want any food or anything? Here's some beer, just relax. You're here. There's video games sitting right next to the couch, So that's my approach. I always tell every guest, this is not an interview. I just want this to be a couple guys or girls chilling and having a good time. The next episode we have coming out is this coming out this Thursday?
It'll be this Thursday.
This Thursday. So on Monday, I'm dropping an episode with Time Cat, if you've ever heard those guys.
No.
Kick-ass band. Yeah. Jerry, she is the lead singer of that band. About 40 minutes into the podcast, I had to tell her, like, hey, we can keep going, but this might have to be 2 parts because her and I could just not stop talking.
That's awesome.
I mean? But that's kind of a little bit into what I do,
Okay. Are you gonna ask him his favorite color?
No, I was thinking about it. No, what I have is it's a question kind of thing, but
no, that's okay.
Just make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah, no, don't get it fucking wrong. This is absolutely an interview.
What's your penis size? No line.
All right, well, it's 3 inches.
From the base. All right. Yeah. Okay, so are you from the area?
Yeah, so actually I grew up in Alliance. And then I moved to Canton. Did a lot of my quote-unquote growing up in Canton. That's where I discovered beer. Well, that's what that means. And then long story short, my wife got a real prestigious job up in Broadview Heights. She works for a real famous cake decorating bakery.
Nice.
And so we moved up to Akron to get a little closer to her, and then decided to buy a home and start a family. So we moved a little closer to Wadsworth. So we're about 30 minutes from here.
Okay. So there's like a part B to that question.
Yeah.
So like, what do you have any like favorite kind of like places to go out to eat with your family in the area, like in like Akron kind of area?
Yeah.
Because I'm also looking for a place that we could. I'm just kind of.
Are you fishing for our next first week food?
I'm looking for options.
We just destroyed Luigi's, so people don't probably want to listen to us anymore.
Oh, you don't like Luigi's?
No.
Oh,
well,
man.
I didn't like it.
Their lasagna is to die for.
Oh, we had their pizza.
Yeah.
You didn't like their pizza either?
No.
Yeah.
My wife will kill you.
I thought it was... Please don't listen to this.
Actually, it was a question. I was like, did you hear our last podcast about Luigi's?
Yeah.
Because we didn't... it didn't go well.
Really?
I had a white pizza in Arizona for $2 cheaper that completely DDT'd that Luigi's pizza to the ground.
Dang. I'm very picky with my pizza too.
Do you like Danny Boy's?
I have only ever eaten there once, and I got there it was like a honey mustard chicken sandwich, I think is what it was.
Okay, well, that's not pizza.
Yeah, so we won't go there.
No. Why, is their pizza not good?
No, that's my favorite pizza place. That's my bar.
But is there anyone that you like specifically?
Are we talking about like actual like chain or just like anything?
No, well, I mean more kind of an Akron kind of.
So Akron, honestly, the one that pops in the head is Mr. Zub's.
Dude,
I love Mr.
Zub's is so. I get the Uncle Buck, man.
Yeah,
the turkey and coleslaw.
Before they moved, before across the street.
Yeah, we used to play at Annabelle's right there. We'd get hammered at Annabelle's and then go over to Mr. Zub's and
playing at like midnight at Annabelle's.
Yeah,
when the sound guy shows up at 10 p.m.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other story. I mean, my father-in-law is like the king of finding like little diners in like hole-in-the-wall places that are the best, but I can never remember their names because they're just places you'll never go to again.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. So you kind of mentioned like, well, you settle down, have a family.
Yeah.
You're in one band, then you're going into another band, and you have a podcast. How, and you're going to school. I don't know if is it cool if I say?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing you should be ashamed of. You're going to school,
Right? No.
but I'm putting your personal life out there.
That's okay.
But how do you find the balance for all of this in your life without letting anyone or anything down?
It's tough. And if I'm being very candid, it's a hard thing, especially with my relationship with my wife, because, you know, I work a full-time job, then I come home and I go to my studio. I have a little back home studio. It's in like a sunroom built on the back of my house. I go back there and I work on homework until I'm done. Sometimes it takes all night. Sometimes it takes all day. And then at least once a week, I have random strangers coming into my home, you know, to do a podcast. So it does get tough. We actually it's funny you asked this question because you really are spying on me. We had a pretty, I wouldn't say heated discussion. It was a discussion of passion, you know, because we weren't like mad at each other or anything like that. Like I can tell, you know, we got two little ones. One's a 2-year-old and one's a 2-month-old, you know. So she knows that I like being a creative is what I call it. So she supports it at the end. It's just there's days where like obviously she's got to just yell at me, you know, like you got to do more of this or do more of that. I get it. As far as balancing, it's all about planning. I tell her, hey, next week this time this is what's going on, you know. And then I also make sure to like we try to have an open communication system to where like, hey, if you need time off or if you need this or whatever, then just say something, you know. Let's plan around it. Like, because this is my passion. This is what I want to do. I can't just go to school full time, go to work full time, and then come home and just do nothing. You know, I'm the kind of guy, very high energy. I've got a lot of projects in my head that I've got the band, the podcast. I write a bunch of short stories. I do all this. I play a bunch of video games. You know, it's hard to balance all that, but it's just honestly, it's the teamwork between me and my wife. You know, she's been a big help.
Being a creative type, is organization something that you have to work on, or is it something that comes to you naturally?
So are you saying that like organization within the creativeness?
I guess I'm thinking like planning. Like my father, for instance, like he's somebody that always had lists, always knows exactly what time he's doing this, what time he's doing that. And up until probably I graduated from grad school, I was just kind of like flailing around, and then I bought like a planner and stuff, and it's like, but people like, one of my best friends is like, oh, you're so put together. It's like, this isn't easy. Like if I don't write every single thing down I'm doing every single day, I can't, like, I have to do that to function.
Yeah.
Is that?
I would say so, yeah. The calendar on my phone is my best friend.
Yeah.
It is my best friend. I'm a list guy too. Excuse me. I could probably sit here and show you a ton of different lists of things I got to get done. Like as soon as we get done here, I'm zipping right home, and I got like 5 different points. I'm putting a bonus episode out for Ohio Weather Band. I got to get that edited and put out, and then I've got just a handful of homework I get done. So yeah, it's tough, but like I said, at first I was like an instant kind of gratification person, you know, where I'm like, oh, I can go shoot a movie, let's just go do it now. You know what I mean? Or hey, I can write a song, let's just go do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, hey, I got this song idea in my head. All right, now I got to text the producer and say, hey, man, can I get Friday, you know, set aside so I can come in and do it? And then which drives me crazy because then I got to pull the voice memo out of my phone and sing the song in my head, or, you know, like I got to get the thought out. But yeah, organization is a very, very big part, especially with this podcast, with my podcast. I looked at your computer and said this podcast.
Well, this one too, trust us. But.
Yeah. Organization is the biggest thing. I'm always like, I'm always a week ahead of my schedule.
Yes.
And I always schedule out months at a time.
Yep. We have a Google Drive where we put show notes in for every single episode.
Nice.
And months, weeks out. Just because if you don't, all of a sudden it's the day before and it's like, what are we talking about? What's our third segment?
Yeah.
And it's like...
You know, I'm not really an organized kind of person.
You're not.
It's
not at all.
Shut up, Tyler.
Like 0%.
So like listening to you guys talking about being organized, like I feel bad that I'm not as organized, but...
I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, man.
Well, working is a loose definition. But anyway.
I'll be candid with you. I am always comfortable doing more of the weight scheduling because he's our editor.
Oh, okay.
Like when this is done, it goes to him and he's the one that spends hours editing it. So if I have to put a little extra time up front, schedule anything out, put it in the Google Drive, I don't mind doing that because it's a
and I appreciate that.
It's a balance. It's a balance because I don't edit.
Yeah.
I'm not organized.
but when you got two guys willing to make it work, And you got a producer, so I'm sure you guys have like your own system.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a team. So I've got a producer. His name is Zach Rusher. I run everything by him. Like there's a couple days in a row where I'd call. We have like 3-hour conversations. Like for instance, I did an episode where I think it might have been a little too vulgar. There's a couple jokes in there that were pretty bad to say the least. So I had to like do a quick edit down and send it to him. And then we're actually scheduling an episode that I think might be controversial within the music scene. So that's something else I had to call him about.
Ooh, do you have a hint about that, or are you going to keep it private? If you keep it private, there's no...
I'll tell you what it's about, but I'm not going to say names.
Teaser.
Yeah. So long story short, there was a band that started up, and they dropped, if I remember correctly, they put like $7,000 into it.
Ooh.
And built up this huge following. Shot a really crazy expensive music video, did a huge debut show where they had hundreds of people show up, and then a day after they broke up, and apparently a bunch of the band members stole a bunch of money, and it's a big mess.
Are you going to be interviewing somebody from that band?
Apparently the dude who had the money taken from him wants to spill the beans on everything.
Oh my gosh.
See, that's why this is awesome, because people that are now listening to us are going to rush to you to hear that, because I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
I'm going to be
wait
listening.
to hear that.
Is that episode 13, or is it farther down the road?
We're not 100% sure yet. So no, episode 13 is going to be Time Cat.
Yeah, that's right.
And
You said
then,
that. You said that.
I'm tall, right?
No,
That's what your thing says.
Yeah. That's a so we talk about organization.
Yeah.
That week when I made the header for it, I booked all those artists, and then when I try to confirm the book date to record I'm Tall, I couldn't get back. Like there was some kind of miscommunication. I couldn't get back with him. He's an incredibly busy man though, so I'm sure he'll be on. I just have to get off my ass and change that header. But no, we're a couple episodes out, so it's probably be in November by the time I actually put the controversial episode.
That's exciting though. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
It's so just fingers crossed that Rusher decides that it's appropriate to put out.
I have a question for you. So your picture for your podcast.
Yep.
I love that picture.
Thank you.
It's a great picture.
Thank you.
Is that kind of what it looks like when you record, or is it just...
No, so that was taken at the Ready Fuels' EP release show.
Oh.
The Empire gave us a green room all to ourselves, and me and the band went back there and got drunk. And that picture is actually me. I think I'm pretty drunk in that picture, but I'm sitting there on the couch, and my good friend Lauren, she was our photographer that night. She ended up taking that picture. When she sent me everything back was when I had the initial inception of the Locals podcast, and I'm like, this picture has got to be it.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
But actually the logo is a little different, because originally the picture started off as a different picture with just the logo on it with a circle. And then the dudes from Levon showed me that another page called The Locals, it was an apartment listing from New York, had a logo very similar.
Oh.
So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to scratch the circle. I'm just going to use the thing, but I'm going to get baseball style text. And, that's kind of where it came from. But yeah, that picture, if you guys need some more content, get a hold of Lauren. I'll send you her contact information, but she's incredible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you a baseball fan?
A little bit.
I said you got an Indians
You got
hat
my
on.
Indians hat on, yeah. Yeah.
Chief Wahoo.
Yes. I grabbed this before they started taking them off the shelves, which is probably not PC of me, but I like the hat anyways.
Yeah.
So as far as baseball, I used to be a big fan of all sports, but now that my plate's so full, I'm just I don't have the time to pay attention to it.
If you're a Cleveland fan, that's probably for the best.
Yes.
My heart's broken every week by the Browns. Now the Cavs are starting up.
My next question was about the hat. Because in your picture you have the hat, and I was just wondering if that's a thing.
Hats are my thing. My wife gets mad at me, but hats are my thing. And I can't wear I don't know, it's a weird, I have to wear a sports hat. It's probably a weird mental thing, but I can't go and, for instance, a friend of mine bought me a real nice snapback of Fallout, when Fallout 4 was a big thing. It said Vault 111 or something. Yeah. And when they bought me this hat, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I'll never wear it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not nothing against them or the hat or anything. It's just I've got a weird thing about hats.
See, that's interesting though, because remember Lauren said boots are like her thing.
Yeah.
And
Are you talking
have
about
a hat.
Lauren? Is her
Brabson?
Brabson? Yeah,
she was our
she's,
last interview.
Was she? Yeah. Okay, actually, that's the one I listened to. She likes a bunch of the Facebook and stuff. I might have to have her on my show. Then.
You should.
You should.
She's
a
awesome.
great
Yeah?
interview.
Okay, cool.
She's awesome. Lauren, if you're listening, you're awesome.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, she's feeling 22. But I just think it's interesting how people have like. Do you have a thing that you feel like when you put it on or you wear it, you're like,
Yeah, I'm wearing it right now. Actually, I like an overshirt.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I like an overshirt.
Do you know mine?
Yeah, I think so. Is your bandana?
Do you
Yeah,
wear it?
hell yeah! It's my. Well, not with this because nobody. It doesn't matter. Nobody can see. But when performing music, I always wear a bandana,
Yeah.
not to look like a douchebag,
It's
or
to
like
keep the
Baker
sweat out of your
Mayfield.
eyes.
Yes, to keep the sweat. Like one time, I was like, maybe I really don't need it. It was at Now That's Class in Cleveland, and I remember I was like crying by like the fourth song because the sweat had gotten. I'm a sweater, man, and it got
Yeah.
in my eyes with the lights and everything. I'm like, oh, like I gotta wear my bandana.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what the hat does for me. Is kind of, I mean, I don't really sweat all that much, but there's a guy named Justin Allen. I think he runs Music Farm. He actually, the new Music Farm just opened up around here, didn't it?
I had no idea.
I think it's right up the road. But he always wore like a punk rock sweatband,
Yeah,
like about midway up his
to keep
forearm.
sweat off his hands.
Yeah, I always made fun of him. I'd always make fun of him because I'm like, what the fuck is that thing, man? You look like a goofball. And he's like, sweat comes down to my fingers. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, that's weird.
It actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I don't have that problem, but I noticed one of my favorite bands is Rise Against,
Oh, nice.
and Tim McElrath always wears one.
Does he? Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense.
You
Yeah,
were looking at your
yeah.
phone like you
No,
had it.
I have a bunch of stuff lined up.
Yeah. What's your favorite color?
You know what? By the end of the interview, I'm gonna want to know.
We'll do a speed round where we'll be like boom 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 questions,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll get to your color.
So, what kind of? You mentioned you use was it Logic?
Yep.
What kind of equipment do you use in your process of recording? Like pros.
He's like much better than our shit.
Probably.
I use. Sorry, I'm gonna have to flex a little bit. No, I'm just
Do it,
kidding.
man.
So yeah, I use Logic for all the recording stuff, and then I use two AKG. They're P220s, I think they are. They're just studio mics. I use that for all my recording too, for bands and stuff, because I do produce for other people. And what else? So I all record that onto my iMac, and then I have very, very expensive plugins that I have acquired. Not the right way, we'll just say.
Yeah, we won't get into that.
Yeah.
It fell off the back of a good truck, right?
Yeah, it fell off the back of the truck. I grabbed it. I tried to give it back, but they just kept on going. So I was
Yeah.
like, I guess this is mine. And then, so yeah, I'll use that. Now, just to backtrack just a tiny little bit. So my team, we have Zach, the producer. I host and then do the show. And then we also have a guy named Tommy Nichols. He lives out in Indiana. He actually does a lot of the, what, do you know him?
No,
No, it just
Tommy
sounded-
Pickles, right?
Oh,
No, it sounds like a mafia name to me.
Oh, Tommy.
Oh.
Tommy Nichols. You know, Tommy Nichols.
I was going to say,
Knuckle crack.
I could tell both of you guys' personality because you went Tommy Pickles and you went Mafia.
Oh,
That's funny. Anyways, yeah. So he actually lately, because he's been buying a home and doing some moving and stuff, so I've had to do all the editing. But yeah, I'll send it to him, and he usually does all the editing and stuff. But yeah, I use all that and looking to upgrade. I'm trying to get a better interface. I use an M box, but it only has 2 channels on it, so I can only record with 2 mics. But eventually I'm going to go ahead and upgrade that so that way I can have... Because right now, when I schedule artists, I'm like, all right, I prefer one person,
Yeah.
but I can do 2 people. Because I just put the mic between them and then just tell them, hey, just pull the mic back and forth, ever so slightly so we don't get dings and donks and stuff. Sorry, dings and donks from... I'm taking an astronomy class, and there's a funny story about that. Anyways, so yeah, and then any more than that, I tried to stay away from. So eventually, I'll.
Do you tell them that, or do you just kind of let them show up and be like, "Oh shit"? Like,
Actually, I've been fortunate enough to only 1 or 2 members of the band show up.
yeah,
But like, for instance, next week I'm recording a band called Take Off Charlie, and they have 5 members in that band. So when they messaged me to get on the show, I said, yeah, would it be cool if, because I was talking to Sean, the lead singer, I was like, would it be cool if you and 1 other person can show up? So I'm like, made it clear that, hey, I can't do more than that, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Do you ever get the lead singer stigma? Because like you just said, you were talking to the lead singer, and I'm the
Yeah.
lead singer for our band,
Yeah.
and I reach out, but most people assume I'm like the bassist or something because like, yeah, the lead singer just comes up, sings, brings their mic. They don't help with anything. Do you ever? Because you sing for your band. Do you ever get like a lead singer stigma, or have you seen it?
He's like, I've never helped my band once.
Well, so all right, I got two answers to that. As far as guests or anything, I've never had an issue with anybody locally. Performing wise, I did have one guy who kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but it was one of those things where I don't know how his day went, so I can't sit there and judge him. As far as the like for me in my band, like I'll help pull shit off the stage, but then afterwards, because I'm technically the face of the band, even I did this even in Bad Wolf too, and my members knew it. It's not like, hey, I'm trying to get out of carrying shit. It's like, hey, we have to network, and I have to like get. Once we're fresh off that stage, like I'll help throw some stuff off, but then I have to get out there in the crowd and start talking to people because I don't want them to be like, oh, he just disappeared. Yeah, he's the dick, and I don't want that. And I don't want any of my other members. So usually I'll tell them, hey, you guys can't leave right when we get off. Just take all your stuff, throw it in the back room, and then come out and mingle. And then if you want to leave after about 15 minutes or 20 minutes of mingling, then you can bounce. But
I think that's like one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to even an open mic or a concert. If a band plays and they're just gone, especially if they're isn't that just like Let
me tell you a quick story about that.
Let's hear it.
So I played at George's Lounge in Canton. Mm-hmm. I was in a band called Eureka Verve. Now this was probably 8 years ago, and this kid hit me up and was like, hey guys, we're playing a show at George's, do you want to open? It would be them and then or us and then them. And I was like, that's fine. So we show up to George's and the kid's like, I'm actually going to play 2 sets. I'm going to play one before you and then I'm going to play one after you. And I was like, whatever, man, it's your gig. I don't care. As we're loading in or whatever, the place gets packed. And I'm not kidding you. Like everybody, it's like a fishing story with like, there were so many people there. I'm not lying. This place was packed. So we got all excited. So, we're at the bar drinking a little bit, and then he plays, gets off, and then we set up our stuff. And as we're setting up, I heard the lead singer, this kid, I'm not going to name his name, talk to all of his people and say, hey guys, let's go get a drink somewhere else real quick, and then we'll come back. So as soon as we finished setting up, that bar fucking cleared out. So we played to like 3 people. And then as soon as we were done, who all walks in? That entire crowd walks back in for him. And afterwards, I walked up to him and I'm like, don't ever invite me to a show ever again. He's like, what's wrong, man? I'm like, what the fuck you think's wrong?
What's the point of even inviting you on?
Yeah, right. I mean, it was one of those short notice things too, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like we could push to bring people ourselves.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever heard from that kid again.
Yeah, we won't get into us because you're the star here, but we've definitely had our share of experiences with that.
Yeah, I mean you can talk about it if you want.
No,
it's your show.
It's better not.
It's too often where
We'll get back to podcasting, but let's just freshen things up and music a little bit.
Yeah.
You say you play a lot of video games. What are some of your favorite games?
Oh, brother, listen, I'm a huge fan of Dark Souls.
Oh, I tried playing. I think the second one. I was like, I suck.
Yeah, the second one is the worst one.
I suck.
Yeah.
No, it's hard, dude.
Hard. I think that might be the hardest game I ever attempted.
I just platinum Bloodborne not too long ago, which I don't know if you guys have PlayStations.
I love Bloodborne. It's hard as fuck though.
Bloodborne is incredible, and I'm started my platinum run of Sekiro, which is the same company. It's just like a Japanese version of the game.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's incredible. But I'm also like, I'm a huge fan of like survival horror, so you'll catch me a lot of times playing like Resident Evil.
Yes. Did you play the 2 remake?
I did. I actually started a stream. I was doing a playthrough like stream.
Yeah.
Which I guess I could say it here on the show. It's another exclusive thing for you guys. The Locals is going to start a gaming side part to where like I don't know exactly when, like every Wednesday night, let's just say, we're going to do like live streaming. And then we're going to start like, I'm trying to decide if guests have enough time when they come over to do the episode. We'll do the episode and then we'll do like an hour or so of like them playing like Smash Brothers.
While you're still talking and stuff?
Yeah. So we can like make it kind of like a funny.
I thought, didn't Conan O'Brien kind of do something like that?
I don't know.
I thought he did.
I mean, I did it first. I'm just kidding.
What's your favorite Resident Evil then?
Let me think about this real quick.
I know this. Remember you were talking about pressured questions?
Yeah.
If you say 6, bye. Get the fuck out of here.
Damn. Well, 6 is my favorite. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I base mine off of memories versus like quality.
Nostalgia, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Resident Evil 3 for me is the best.
Okay.
I had the most memories with that one, and then I would have to say probably Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 7 blew my mind.
Did you even feel like you were playing a Resident Evil game? Because there were moments in that game where I'm like, and I was cool with it. I'm like, this is an amazing game, first person. But I'm like,
have you ever noticed that every 3 games is? We're not including all the side spin-off bullshit. Yeah, we're not including all that. But like the main franchise, every 3 games they change.
Yes.
The mechanics. So like from Resident Evil 1 through 3, they did the tank controls, like fixed background stuff.
Yeah.
Then 4 through 6, they did the over the shoulder, and then for 7, they did first person.
Yeah.
Which, dude, it did not have a Resident Evil vibe until you start doing the puzzles in the house.
Correct.
And then when you fight the first boss, I'm like, yep, that's a Resident Evil boss right there, you know?
Yeah.
And then from there, kind of like, the first one will always be, pretty close. And then 4, I just replayed 4. And despite it having such a great review, like I've played it back in the day when it first came out, and I was like, this is one of the best Resident Evils. That game sucks. It does not hold up.
Dude, I think 4 is like my favorite.
Is it? Oh, I'm so sorry.
All right, I gotta leave now. Shit, I gotta leave my own.
Well, I guess we'll finish this together.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a reason if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's super dated. There's a lot of misogynistic like things that Leon does that kind of. I mean, I guess it's a product of the time, but it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. The dialogue is absolutely
Hunnigan, you
terrible.
look so much better without your glasses on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just like some of the shots when he's helping Ashley get up, like it's like in a purposeful direction
down the skirt.
Yeah,
that
like,
totally makes sense. Yeah, it totally makes sense.
And at the time when you're what? We were probably, how old are you?
I'm 27.
You're 27. Okay, so you're like 2 years younger than me. At the time, it was probably like acceptable.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a thing anybody bat their eye at. But now that we're in the age of accountability,
yes,
it's a little weird. It's like, okay, man, that's not appropriate.
All right, I got 2 more. Oh yeah.
I just finished Last of Us. The Last of Us.
Yes.
It's so fucking good.
Yes.
All right,
The
go.
Last of Us 2. If I may add one more thing to his thing, Last of Us, dude. The giraffe scene is absolutely amazing.
It's so beautiful. I thought you were gonna say horrible for a second.
No.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing.
All right, 2 games I want your opinion on. Then we'll get back to the shit that we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah. I've probably played every game on the planet. That's
Perfect.
one of my money pet peeves, or my wife hates because I have to buy every new game that comes out.
Do you remember when $60 was like, fuck, and now it's like, man, this is too accessible.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, now it sucks because like you can get the $60 base game that doesn't come with the full game. Now you have to spend $100 to get the full game. Yeah.
I just wait years. Like I'll go to the exchange and I'll buy a game that came out like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And, Alan Wake. What's your opinion on Alan Wake?
Dude, Alan Wake. When I start my streaming service, or my streaming service, I'm starting a streaming service.
I'll buy.
When I start my streaming platform with the locals, I plan on doing a run of Alan Wake.
Yes, I will watch.
Absolutely love Alan Wake. Have you played Quantum Break or Control?
Are they both Remedy?
They're both Sam Lake.
Okay.
Dude, Control.
I saw that game. That looks awesome.
Yeah, Control is incredible. It's got a lot of frame rate issues, at least on PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
I bet it does.
But it's absolutely incredible. It's worth the play. It's one of those games where it's like it's got the frame rate issues, but it's so good that I can look past it.
Yeah,
that's that gal that can look stuff up.
Yeah, mine. And then later you get like a flying ability and stuff. It's so good. And then Quantum Break. Do you have an Xbox or PlayStation?
Oh, I think I played.
I got 360 and PS4.
Okay, you can't play Quantum Break unless you borrow his PlayStation or his Xbox.
Yeah, it's in my Xbox still, I think.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's worth it. But that was the game where they mixed TV show and video games. So you'll play like an hour of video game and then you got 30 minutes of a TV show, which is cool.
That is cool. It's a nice break.
Yeah.
I actually didn't like Alan Wake as much my first playthrough because it felt really repetitive with the fighting, and then my second playthrough, I just kind of like my expectations were so high, but then I just enjoyed the game. Like, you can't judge something based on something you want it to be.
Yeah,
like you have to take it for what it is. And in my second playthrough, I was like, this is an amazing game.
My first playthrough, I was like, this game is way too long.
I've had that.
But my second playthrough, I'm like, I think by the end of the game, I'm like, this was way too long, but it was needed. It's just such a good game.
Okay, this is my second one. Then we'll get back. This is a little bit more obscure. If you've played this game, I'm gonna bring you back on this podcast just to talk about this game for an hour. Have you ever played Deadly Premonition?
Deadly Premonition. No, I have not.
Okay, if we come on your show, I'll bring you a copy and you gotta play it, and then we'll talk.
Is Deadly Premonition like a found footage thing?
No, it came out the same time Alan Wake did,
there's a tree, right?
The red tree.
Yeah, there's a tree.
It's just like the show Twin Peaks. It's like a cop, a city officer goes to this town where there's a murder, but then there's all this mysterious stuff going on.
Yeah.
And there's like a paranormal side, but then it's really quirky too.
Yeah.
I actually liked it at the time more than Alan Wake.
Really?
Yeah, I played that game first. I went to go rent Alan Wake from Family Video. They didn't have Alan Wake. Got Deadly Premonition. Played it. Loved it. I played Alan Wake. I was like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But they're both amazing. So
Alan Wake doesn't hold up right now, too. It's story-wise it does, but the graphics are terrible.
Yeah, well, it's 9 years old now.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was in production for like 9 years. All right, so yeah, podcast. What's your hosting platform?
So I use Podomatic.
Podomatic.
I have not even seen that like in the lists of stuff.
It's absolutely terrible.
Are you?
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Are you thinking about
absolutely
switching? We
Not
use Podbean. We started on SoundCloud, man. That was a fuck up.
Yeah,
yeah, that was
because they charge you like an arm and a leg.
The price wasn't that bad in SoundCloud.
It's like $20 to put. Now it's $20 to get past to do unlimited
I don't know what we did.
Are you in this group?
podcast movement. I am not.
You should be.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
you
right.
definitely
It's
should be.
people.
So, can you like invite me to it? Or
Yeah.
anything?
I don't. Well, we're not friends.
Yeah, you know me.
Let's be friends first.
Yeah,
and
let's
then,
be friends.
That's because I'm in a lot of different like Akron DIY music.
Nice.
Like, I'm in a lot of music groups, but then I thought about it, I'm like, I could probably learn a lot from other people trying to do what we're doing. You're not like, instead of like Joe Rogan,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I might as well listen to other people that are trying to
Well,
start-
if I may add any kind of advice to it,
Yeah.
the best thing to do is listen to professional podcasting. Like I said, I listen to here. I'll rattle off some of the
yeah,
ones I
actually, that
listen
was gonna be one of my questions because you say you listen to 10 a day.
Yeah,
Let's hear some of your favorite
was-
podcasts.
it might not actually be 10 a day, but it's pretty close. Like
That was one of
that's
my questions,
All
too.
those right there is what I listen to. So I listen to I listen to Pod Save America because I love politics,
I
man.
don't know what that is.
You don't know Pod Save
I'm gonna
America?
have to get that.
I don't know politics.
It's a democratic podcast platform where they just talk politics and stuff. I am a sucker for politics, so I love that show. I listen to Lore. You ever heard of Lore?
I've heard of Lore.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it though.
Lore is incredible. I listen to Lore. I listen to the Locals. That's a good podcast.
That's all right. I've heard that one.
Yeah.
He's like, that's all right. Another like political one is Abe Lincoln's Top Hat.
Oh, with Ben fucking Kissel?
Yes.
My.
Do you listen to the last podcast?
Are
then?
you kidding? Oh my
Yes,
god! I
dude.
want to
See, now you're having that Resident Evil connection that we
Yes.
Ah! Dude,
I was gonna say he
I
got
saw
so
them
excited
live.
the whole computer started shifting towards him.
Yeah, I know. I'm like pulling back.
Yeah,
No, I saw them live.
I did too at the Masonic Temple.
No shit.
I was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I was there.
He's
I
like,
got the
whatever
Hail.
row you had, I was one in front of you.
Yep, I got the Hail Satan koozie. Me and my wife
I did
love
too.
those
It's in my
guys.
fucking car.
Yep, mine's at home right next to my computer with my beer that's still open that I forgot to finish.
Yeah, I love my podcast.
Yeah, no, man, I'm a big fan of them. I also have Kind of Fun, his new wrestling podcast.
I don't like wrestling. I would, but
Okay,
I don't like wrestling.
either, but it's Ben Kissel, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna listen to it. I listen to and I hope this doesn't rub people the wrong way, but I listen to a religious debate podcast. I'm a pretty militant atheist.
It's a dogma debate.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
God, dude, we're gonna be best friends. And then a couple more here. I listen to Lead Singer Syndrome. Actually, if you listen to Lead Singer Syndrome, I base a lot of the format to my show off of what he does.
Nice.
And then that's the conversation that we had with my producer. It's like, he's like, all right, so you based your format off of that. Now how can we do it to change it to make it our own? You know what I mean? So we're in the middle of a process right now to where we're going to change the style of the show to make it fit more my own. Joe Rogan, I listen to Wizard and the Bruiser, which is also on the last podcast network.
Holden's a fuck, but yeah.
Holden is a fun. My son's name's Holden.
Oh,
and
no, not him.
don't tell my wife this, but I was hoping that she was gonna go for the Holden name because I'm like, I love that show.
Well, I like the book Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
So I like that name just because of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then last one here, the Waving Game podcast. Clapper the Rapper and Nick Andrizen. Clapper the Rapper he's a successful like pop rapper around here, and Nick is actually like really big on TikTok. Like he's got millions of followers and stuff. But they're based out of Maslin. They've got their own podcast called The Waving Game, and those guys are awesome too. They actually plugged my show a couple times on there. But yeah, man, that's what I'm listening to. I can sit here. I did the audiobook thing for a while, but I like it when it's a conversation versus like,
audiobook for me is kind of like looking at starting it is like looking at a blank page when you're going to start writing.
Yeah.
It's like once you get started in the book or writing, you're like, this is awesome. I should do this every day. But it's just like to start is kind of like that. Ugh. Like I don't.
I'm not that way because when I listen, I'm so far in my audiobooks. I'm waiting for another free credit. I'm not gonna buy a book
from
but
Audible.
Like, yeah.
I finished the entire Harry Potter series on Audible, and I'm halfway, or I'm about 3/4 of the way through the Dark Tower series, if you've ever heard of that.
Oh, yeah. I'm on Harry Potter, too, actually.
Yep.
Do you listen to page 7?
I have not, but I know what you're talking about, yes.
Okay. I was just wondering. All right, we should move on.
Yep. Sorry, back to my point, is because listening to those podcasts, because that's what I was like advice. I didn't want to forget that. Yeah, listen to those professional podcasts. Listen to what they're doing, their formats, how they're doing it. And then from there, like I did a lot of. Actually, I didn't do any research outside of just listening to podcasts. I'm like, this sounds interesting. This is what I'm going to do, and then I dove into it. Now I just listen to podcasts more and more and more, so I can see how they're talking, like. The biggest thing for me is, like, I got to figure out how to stop saying like after everything. Or, you know what I mean? I was going to joke that, like, man, we should play a drinking game with how many times I say like, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If we did with us, we'd be very drunk.
We'd be drunk, yeah. For us, a lot of it... Because when we started this, it was kind of like, we can't just go on there and ramble. Because, I mean, we only have guests once a month. Like, you are the week 3 VIP. The other 3 weeks of the month, we do our own thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can't just go on here and ramble for an hour. Like, nobody wants to listen to that.
Being said, we could. It wouldn't be
it'd be fucking gold if we did, but we don't. So that's like this, like the whole idea of like the segue podcast is like the way we do it is segments.
Okay.
So we created a whole list of like 30 segments and we break it down. So each week has like a main pillar, whether we're like every month we do a restaurant review, we do a movie review, we interview a local artist or creative mind, and then we do something paranormal. So
paranormal, nice.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Cool.
So every week, like that's the cool thing is like every week you know what you're getting into. That's like the pillar segment, but then we have these other little segments that we sprinkle in there, so that way it keeps it concise.
Yeah,
and...
can I ask something?
Absolutely.
It might be a little bit of a pushback. Do you? For you guys, do you think that like doing it that way brings in more people monthly, or do you think that like people would like be shy away from that? My reasoning being is because, like, for instance, let's just say this is just like a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Like for me, I just want to hear the creative mind part, so I only tune in once a month. I'm not checking the other stuff out.
Right.
Do you guys ever have you thought about that?
I was gonna say we've had dark conversations about maybe in-depth conversations about that very same thing.
Yeah.
I am. That's why I think that we try to put like a local touch on it, because that's like we don't have a niche. We don't have a target audience. And if you go to anything where it's like, I need help podcasting, or 10 tips to start your podcast, everybody's like specific, find your target audience, be niche. And we're just kind of like movie reviews, restaurant reviews, local artists. So if in a perfect world, it's like people, like, it's like you listen to somebody so much that you get attracted to their personality. Yeah, and no matter what, and that's how everybody wants to start.
Yeah, of course.
In a perfect world, it's like, oh, they're going to like me for me, so I can just talk about whatever I want for an hour. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
So I guess our niche is to stay local. Like, that's where like the restaurant reviews and the artists come in. But I totally understand that we have like a mighty mountain in front of us of like somebody who likes our movie reviews might not give a fuck what restaurants we eat at.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of what the question was, yeah.
Like you literally said about that's kind of fun. Like, you don't really listen to podcasting, but you love Ben Kissel.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's because I love Last Podcast on the Left. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you guys are taking that approach, but with like on episodes versus a whole show. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know what I'm trying to say.
That's my whole show, man. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but like I like, here's the thing. If this was like, if this was a proper business plan where we knew like our goal is to make this much money and have this target of an audience and have this many followers, then we'd probably be setting ourselves up for failure. But we've had conversations and it's kind of like, I don't want to just do restaurant reviews for them. Yeah, like, it's part of like even if like in a year we only get like 20 more followers on Instagram or whatever, it's like we both really enjoy doing this. That even if it doesn't grow, like it might come to a point in 5 years if we're still exactly where we are now, we're like, maybe we should stop.
Yeah.
But we both enjoy doing it so much that it's kind of like, I'd rather not grow and enjoy my time doing it than force myself into a lane and not enjoy the process.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But I totally understand your question. It has kept me up at night.
Like,
it's sorry. Really, it's like, because it's like, who is our target audience? It's like, people who live in Ohio who watch movies and like music and eat food, and it's like I totally understand.
Well,
that.
now that you said, because like I mean, and I'll be 100% honest with you, I only listened to the Lauren Brabson episode because that's the one I think you sent me. You might have sent me another one too.
I Mo Turk, which you should listen to.
Okay,
he's a great rapper in the area. Mo Turk.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
No, you're fine. But now that I know you do like movie reviews, because I like movies too, and the paranormal thing actually kind of intrigues me. So I might have to check it out now that you said something. Actually, I'm gonna subscribe right now so you know I did it.
So
you weren't before?
I'm so sorry.
But I guess that's the appeal. Is like, you know, every single week, first week restaurant review, second week movie review. Like if you don't like the movie reviews, you know going into it, I just won't listen this month.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you just put on here Rambo Last Blood. I haven't seen it, but what do you think about it?
It was fun.
I guess I could listen to your podcast and find out.
It was fun.
The way, so we try and make it matter. So like, you have to listen the week before to know how the outcome. We do we put out there like, what are your guys' 5 favorite scary movies? And we list 5 and we rank them. And then we tally up everybody else's on social media. We had like 20 people engage.
Yeah.
And we have 2 movies. We were like, if we get at least 3 out of 5 right, we're going to go see Joker, which is what we wanted to see. And if we fail, then we have to see Rambo.
Oh.
So it was actually a punishment, but it was a good fucking time.
Yeah, you ended up liking it.
I actually saw Joker this weekend.
I haven't seen it yet. Please don't spoil it.
I'm not gonna spoil it.
Fucking ass.
My wife and I got a babysitter for this weekend, so we are gonna go see Joker, and then we're gonna go to a clam bake because I love seafood. We're gonna go clam bake and then get drunk.
Hell yeah.
I talk about getting drunk a lot. I'm not an alcoholic, I promise.
I was really scared you said something else, not clam.
Oh.
I was like, that's messed up.
Nope.
I gotta edit that out.
No, sir. Not me, my man. Not me.
That would be something I would definitely like. If we ever hop on your show, that would probably be like target audience. That'd be a really in
The
depth.
clan?
Yeah. Oh, are you not?
No.
We gave you the white microphone. We gave you the white
yeah.
mic and everything. So, what advice would you give if somebody came up to you and was like, "Hey, David, we love your podcast. We want to start our own podcast." What is one advice that you would give us?
Dude, honestly, like you kind of nailed on the head when you said find a niche. And I'm not. That's so cliche. Like I said, the reason I brought that question up is because I think, and don't take it the wrong way, but I think you guys are making it a little harder on yourselves.
Yes.
That's how we like to do it, yeah.
And that's fine because, like you guys said, like I said, I'm gonna give you guys an honest listen here and see what the things are about. Actually, tomorrow when I get to work, I'll give you a listen. But like, you've got to know what you want to talk about, and you've got to aim it at certain people. So, like for me, I was going creative minds. I'm like, I want anybody who has any kind of passion creatively. Like, I don't give a shit about sports. I'm sorry. If you want to be on my podcast because you play baseball, that's fine. Let's do it. But like, I'm not going for you. You know what I mean? I'm going for the musicians, the artists, the photographer, filmmakers, comedians. I'm doing that stuff. And the reason being is because, like, one, you think about it too. Like, for instance, we just had the Ohio Weather Band on. Big band in the local area. Huge. When they share my posts,
yep,
they got 30 likes on one post about the project. That's huge. Especially for a page, because page is a pain in the ass to get people to like anything on there without actually spending money. The whole goal was to, like, my game plan is like, all right, like I was telling you guys earlier, aim for the local base. But now what I do is like, every time we go to release an episode, I link up with the artist. So let's just say you guys came on the show, we talked, and now we're in post-show. What I would explain to you is, okay, listen, now this show is just as much for me as it is for you. This was a platform for you to tell your story, why you do the things that you're doing. If you don't share this, your fans aren't going to hear this. The people who listen to my show regularly will. But that might get you one new listener, but this is a platform for you to tell your fans why you're doing the stuff that you're doing. The biggest compliment I got on my show was this little old lady commented on a post that I was tagged in and said that she really enjoyed listening to the production side of music, like listening to how it was made. And I was like, oh shit, that's actually really cool that you like that, because I only asked those questions because I was genuinely interested to see how this other artist wrote, recorded, came about the things that they come about. But anyways, pedaling it back, that's a long-winded explanation. But it really is like that niche. Like, if you guys want to do movie reviews, then like stick with the movie reviews, then target the fans of movies, like your buddies who are into movies, then do that. I necessarily wouldn't listen to that advice because I do think that you guys already have a pretty decent following, right?
It depends. It depends what you mean by pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, like we're still new too. I mean,
Yeah. Well, again, too, I read somewhere
We get between 25 and 50 an episode.
that's pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I think the episode. The highest listen I've ever gotten on one episode was like 100 plays, but they usually average about the same
Yeah.
as far as listens. It honestly depends on who I bring on the
Typically,
show.
and it's funny because it's exactly what you just explained. The ones that typically we get the most listens are the ones where we're interviewing people because they're sharing. Like that's kind of like our lifeline. It's like we're gonna put out 2 episodes that nobody's gonna share, and then we have that interview. It's like a cycle of it's like we're picking up steam from the interview, and then we start slowing down. Then we have the next interview, and then yeah.
That's exactly how I run my show. Now, have you guys ever thought about like if you do restaurant reviews, linking up with the restaurant and say, "Hey, man, we did a podcast where we reviewed your." Obviously, if it was a bad review,
Yeah, I know. Well,
probably
we've only
don't-
had one really great one.
Yeah.
And they shared it. Like we did. We posted
Okay, yeah,
it.
cool. That's what I was gonna ask.
We created an account. We always leave an actual Google review because
Yeah.
we're being honest.
Yeah.
And the very first episode we ever did, which is funny because we wanted to go into it being like, we can't like we gotta be critical.
Yeah.
But then we gave these guys like the best rating we've ever had. It's
Yeah.
Main Street Grill. In
Oh,
North
yeah.
Amazing place, and we were just like, God damn it! Like we wanted to be hard on these guys. They were amazing. So we shared it. We tagged them. They shared it. Said thanks for it. So much. So but the other ones we have. That's because this dude's over here is like eating Luigi's pizza. Like it's a little like well yeah no we can't fucking share it with them. Like it's pizza.
I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
Mine was fine.
I don't know. So the reason I bring that up is like getting like for those episodes that aren't relying on like the guest is like to get the like I don't know, like if you go to a local movie theater or something, like for instance like a drive-through, maybe get a hold of the drive-through, but hey guys, we did a movie review at your venue. Is it cool if like you know what I mean, just something like that, because like you were saying about relying on like the steam from the guest, that's what the locals is based off everything.
Yeah,
it's just
it makes sense, and that's a really smart, efficient way of doing it. Like I said, we do things with engagement where people respond, and sometimes we'll shout those people out,
of course,
and let them know we did. So they're like, "Oh, hey friends, listen, I was on this podcast." Stuff like that. We actually did this giveaway, which I thought was going to be really well. I think it was too soon, but we actually put up flyers, like traditional marketing, up on.
I think I saw some because before I came here, I did a little bit of creeping.
Yeah,
I think I saw.
We put it up in Akron and Kent, and we said anybody who takes a selfie with these and email it to us, we will give you $10 gift cards.
Wow!
Nobody fucking did it.
No one did it.
Wow! That's funny because I think I started my Patreon too early, because I was like. So for me, it only costs $10 to upload my show every month or week, or not every week, every month. It costs $10 to upload the show. So I was like, okay, if I can get 10 people to donate $1,
yeah.
Well, you think about it, $1, that's easy,
You just need 1,000 of those.
yeah. I was like, man, it's just $1. It should be easy. Nobody for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then finally, a buddy of mine ended up putting on there. He put $5 on there, and I'm like, whoa, dude, cool, thank you. And there's a little bit of a backstory as to because we're still revamping a bunch of stuff with the Patreon. But after I started like getting some steam, we're 12 episodes in. We've had a lot of big artists, at least in the local scene.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to pull in Patreons quite a bit, and it's starting to pay for itself.
How many are you up to, if you don't mind?
We are at six Patreons, and they each vary on how much they're giving.
But we know that's a minimum of $11, so you're at minimum making $1.
Yep.
Minimum.
Yep.
I checked your Patreon. Have you changed it recently or no?
What do you mean by change? What
did you change your tiers?
I have.
I saw a tier you had, and I was like, I'm gonna bring this dude on our podcast, and I'm gonna fucking steal from him. To have businesses pay $10, and then you read a script.
Yep.
That was the most genius thing I've ever seen in a Patreon. But you took it off?
I did take it off.
No biters?
No biters. I thought that like I was gonna wait. I think my game plan is we're gonna wait till 30 episodes.
Yeah.
And then I'll start pitching it to different like places around here. And maybe this is where you guys could help because you're around like so many local businesses and stuff. That was the game plan. I figured, dude, it's $10. You can advertise it, but I think people were like, he's such a new podcast, he doesn't have.
They want to see, well, what's that gonna get me?
Exactly. And like I said, $10 a month, you get 4 ad reads. In the middle of the show, you can write whatever you want. You know what I mean? And it's like, that seemed like a pretty good deal to me.
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I thought it was amazing.
But it's just...
We're going to
like
do
I
it for
said,
$9.
Yeah. No, steal the idea. I think it's an
All right,
awesome idea. That's why I did it. So I had a $1, which was just to support the locals Patreon.
Yeah.
And then I had a $5, which was, with the $1 you also got your name shout out on the show, which I haven't been doing very much because I'm an asshole. $5 I was going to do behind the scenes, a bonus episode, behind the scenes content where I would film the episodes and then put them up there. And then a couple other things I can't remember off the top of my head. I did it for one episode and was like, this is too much. And there's only one person donating $5, which was the buddy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
And I don't even know if he's actually going to pay attention to any of this. So I ended up messaging him and was like, hey man, I'm unfortunately going to have to stop doing this. It's too much. You can adjust your Patreon how you want. You know, if you don't feel like you want to give $5 anymore and you want to give $1, or you don't want to give anything at all, that's fine. Do what you got to do. You know, I just wanted to be honest with you and let you know what's going on. And he's like, nah, man, keep the $5. You deserve to do what you love. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, man, cool.
That's support right there, man.
Yeah.
I think we'll have one eventually. I don't know when, but it would just be nice. Like, even if you break even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're putting money. I mean, we're doing Podbean, which I think is like $14 or $15 a month.
Okay. Yeah.
I like your structure for posting on social media. And we stole. That's flattery if you see something you steal it.
Yeah.
But it's just so clear. It's like, here's what it's about. Like Apple link space.
Yeah.
Spotify link. It's so clean.
Yep.
It's so clean.
That was my producer Zach's idea. So.
Zach, good job.
Yep, he's the man.
I'm glad he didn't come because we only have one other mic. But
he
kudos,
actually he works in New York.
He's waiting in the car.
Yeah, he's been in the car right down. But don't worry, I left the windows down. His favorite music's on. You know.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Or do you are you reaching for your phone?
No, I'm good.
Give us some plugins, man. Is it Monday? do you post on Mondays?
Post every Mondays, and then I try to. If you're a subscriber of Patreon, like I said, you can just don't throw it. Excuse me. You can throw $1, and I try to get episodes out on Fridays for everybody who donates to the Patreon. I haven't been very good at that, but I'm trying. So it means you'll get them early, and also after we hit our goal, which I think we did. Actually just yesterday, we'll start doing some more like shouting out and like some more stuff. But anyways, you can follow the show on all the social media. Just search up the Locals OH, Facebook, Instagram, and now Twitter, which I'm going to be using Twitter quite a bit because I like Twitter.
I thought because you could link out on Twitter it'd be easier. Instagram is the way, in my opinion.
I still use Instagram more than anything else, but I like Twitter, and I might just, I don't know, we'll see. And then again, if you want to support the show, it's patreon.com/thelocalsoh, and you can find it on Spotify, Apple iTunes. Why do I say that? Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, and of course Patreon and SoundCloud.
And if you're in the area mid-November, catch your band at the Empire Concert Club.
Yep, tickets are fucking $18.
Or you could just pay $18 on his Patreon.
And I'll give it to you for free. No, I think they're like either. I think that it's 18 at the door and 14 in person. It's an expensive show because the band that's touring right now, they're a bigger band. So if you want to come see the Ready Feels, let's do it. Let's have you guys on my show, man.
Hey, David, we appreciate having you on, man. Great podcast. We're going to be sharing this. We're going to be listening. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you on your court. So everybody, thank you guys so much for listening. And remember, this is The Segue.
It's the best thing to listen on a Thursday or a Friday or a Saturday. It doesn't freaking matter. Listen to the damn Segue podcast.
Off the record, this is I mean it's on, but you'll edit this out.
Okay,
I definitely future Tyler. I'm gonna snip this and turn this into a video we post on Instagram because that is such a good teaser right there. We are using this material. Do not let me forget.
What's the time code?